Good afternoon and welcome to today's session on immune system. So this revision is for grade 11 advanced students of Al Zaydia Boys School. I'm Emmanuel Regan-Paul, a teacher from Al Zaydia Boys School, Alain. So let's get started. So you have one chapter for your exam and there are 3 lessons in it. The first lesson will be infectious diseases. So number 1 will be infectious diseases. Lesson number 2 is immune system. And lesson 3 is non-infectious diseases. So what we are going to do, today we are going to look at the revision on lesson 1 and lesson 3. We'll have a separate video for lesson number 2. So today's revision is based on the Heikel, that's end of term 3. Yes, let's get started. So here we go with lesson number 1, infectious diseases. So I want you guys to turn to page number 3 in your textbook. Page number 3. So in page number 3, you will be getting one question, and this question will be can be from 3 concepts. It can be from a definition of infectious disease or pathogens, or the third concept will be the beneficial bacteria. Let's see now. Now, what is an infectious disease? Look at the definition. An infectious disease is a disease that is caused by a pathogen. So what are pathogens? So let's say, for example, pathogens, it can be bacteria. Bacteria can be pathogen. It could be virus, protozoans, parasites. So if a disease is caused by pathogen, and if it is passed from one organism to another, disrupting the homeostasis, then it is called as infectious disease. So what is an infectious disease? An infectious disease is a disease that is caused by a pathogen, passed from one organism to another, disrupting homeostasis in an organism's body. This is called as infectious disease. Now let's look at the definition of pathogens. So what are pathogens? So pathogens are the agents that cause diseases. So what are they? They are the bacteria, virus, protozoans, fungi, and parasites. So all these are called pathogens. So we have finished 2 definitions now. One is infectious disease and another one is pathogen. What are pathogen? Pathogens are agents that cause diseases. So they are bacteria, virus, protozoans, fungi, and parasites. Okay. Now, one thing that you should remember, not all the pathogens are harmful. Okay, not all the bacteria are harmful. Okay, let me put it this way. Not all the bacteria are harmful. There are some organisms, especially certain types of bacteria and protozoans, that are useful as well. They are useful to us. How they are useful? They live in the intestinal and reproductive tracts. So they live inside your intestine and in the reproductive tubes. They are helpful. Okay, so remember, there are some bacteria that live on your skin. Okay, so these organisms keep the pathogen from thriving and multiplying on your body. So remember, there are not all the microorganisms are harmful. There are some microorganisms which are beneficial, which means they are useful. Okay, and most of them are harmful. Of course, most of them are harmful, but there are some bacteria, there are some microorganisms which are beneficial also to your body. Okay, is it clear? So now we have studied what are infectious disease, we have studied what is pathogen, and we know that there are some bacteria and protozoans that live in your intestine and reproductive tracts. Okay, so this is concepts that you need to study from page number 3. Okay, now let's move on to page number 4 and 5. So first, let me zoom in. page number 5. Okay, let's move on to page number 5 and then we'll come to page number 4. Okay, here we go. Page number 5. So here it's clear for you. Now I want you to turn to page number 5. So in page number 5, there is a concept called spread of diseases. Okay, so in this, what we are going to learn? See, you're going to learn a definition called reservoir. So what is a reservoir? Reservoir is a source of pathogen in the environment. What's the meaning? So like you can find the bacteria or virus living in a particular place, and that place is called as a reservoir. So where do they live? Reservoirs might be animals, so they can live in animals. The pathogens can live in animals. The pathogens can live in people, or the pathogens can live in inanimate objects such as the soil. So, animal, people, and objects can be reservoir. Okay, don't forget. So, pathogen can live in some places. It can live in animals. It can live on people. It can live on objects. So these things are called as reservoir. So what's a reservoir? It is a source of a pathogen. Don't forget this key term, source of pathogen. If you find this, source of pathogen, so remember they are talking about reservoir. Okay. So let's say here they have given you something here. See, some might be a mild disease. You see, although there are large number of microorganisms, only a few will cause disease. Okay. So some serious disease caused by microorganisms are given here. One is called meningitis. It is an infection covering, which is caused in the coverings of the brain and the spinal cord. So remember this, meningitis. Okay, it's an infection of the brain and the spinal cord. So the infection of the brain and the spinal cord is called as meningitis. See, look for the word meningitis. meningitis. So meningitis, it is an infection caused on the covering of brain and the spinal cord. Okay, keep this in mind. All right, now come back here. So reservoir. So reservoirs can be of two types. Okay, that is given in this page. The two types are the human reservoir and the animal reservoir. What is human reservoir? So humans can be a source of pathogens. In other words, pathogen can live inside the human. So human are the main reservoir for pathogen that affect human. You see, who is the main reservoir? Humans are main reservoir, which means we get diseases from humans. Most of the diseases that we get are from another human. Okay, so let's see. This is what you have to remember. One more thing that you remember: an individual that is symptom free but capable of passing the pathogen is called as a carrier. So this is the definition of carrier. So what does that mean? Who is called as a carrier? See, for example, there is one person. Let me draw one person here. This is A. There is a second person, is B, and there is a third person, okay, is C. So what happens is this guy is getting the infection. Okay, he's having, let's say he's having a disease. He's having a disease. So what happens is this person carries the infection from A to B, and then the infection moves from B to C. But what happens? This B is not affected by the disease. Who gets the disease? A gets the disease and C gets the disease, but B is not affected by the disease. So who is B? B is called as a carrier. What is he doing? He is just symptom free, but what is he doing? He is carrying the pathogen from A and passing it to C. So this A is having a disease and C is having a disease, having the same disease, but B is not affected. He is not having it, not having the disease. So B is called as a carrier. You see the word? An individual that is symptom free but capable of passing the pathogen from one organism to the other is called as a carrier. Okay, so keep this in your mind. So what is a carrier? Carrier carries. See the word carry. Carrier carries the disease from one to the other. Keep that in mind. Okay, so that's called as a carrier. Okay, let's look at the next one. The next thing that you need to study is about an animal reservoir. Not only humans are reservoir, animals can also be reservoir. So one of the virus that you know is the a disease that you know is rabies. Rabies is found in domestic dogs and many wild animals. Okay, see. So when a person is bitten by a dog or any wild animal, then what happens? The person may develop a disease called as rabies. Okay, so virus that is found in the dogs, in the wild animals, can enter into the human. So this is called as animal reservoir. Okay, hope that is clear now. So two reservoirs, human reservoir and animal reservoir. So if you get disease from human, then it is called human reservoir. If you get disease from animals, then it is called as animal reservoir. Okay, now let's see. There are many other diseases. Remember, this is very, very important for you, this table, because you get three questions only from this table. Three questions are there. So what to, you have to somehow learn it. You need to memorize this. See, some of the disease, like example, bacterial disease. There are three bacterial diseases. What are they? Tetanus, strep throat, Lyme disease. Okay, keep this in mind. Lyme disease, strep throat, tetanus. And there are three viral diseases: chickenpox, rabies, influenza. These three are, no, one more also here, no, four diseases. You see, there are four diseases here. Viral disease. Let me erase this. Okay. So here we go. There are four diseases: chickenpox, rabies, influenza, hepatitis B. These four are viral disease. Okay. There are two protozoan diseases. One is giardia and malaria. These two are protozoans, and there is only one fungal disease, okay, which is called as athlete's foot. Athlete's foot. Okay. Then let's look at the other way. See, this seems to be important because many times they have asked on athlete's foot. Athlete's foot is a fungal disease, okay, and it is affecting which organ? It's a fungal disease, it's affecting skin. So the affected organ system will be skin. Okay. Then giardia and malaria, they both are protozoan disease. They affect digestive, blood and liver. Okay. Then another important one is Lyme disease. This is important. Okay. Very important. Many times they have asked about Lyme disease. It is caused by a bacteria, mainly this one. You see, how will this disease spread? The disease spreads through vectors. Vectors like ticks. Okay. Tick and usually mosquitoes are also vector, but this Lyme disease spreads through or by vector. Okay, they spread by vectors. Okay, another important disease that you need to learn is rabies. Rabies. Okay, rabies is a viral disease. Okay, it is affecting the nervous system and it is by animal bite. So animal bite. So remember, it is animal which is transmitting it. Okay, so reservoir is animal. This is again important. Yes. Hepatitis B. So which organ? It's caused by virus. It affects the liver. It affects the liver. It is because of direct contact with body fluids. So this way you will learn, you memorize it. You're going to get three questions from this. Okay. So most probably these are the questions from which they ask you because these are repeated questions. Okay. So this table is important for you. We are going to see some questions now. Okay. We are going to see some questions. But before that, let's also finish this and then we'll see together. So let's see this. There is a scientist named the Cook. You see? Okay, here we go. Yes. There is a scientist called Cook. So Cook isolated bacteria. He isolated bacteria from where? See, from the blood of cattle that had died from a disease called anthrax. So try to understand. This picture will be coming in the exam. Okay. So what are these? These rod-like bacteria are these structure. No, they are rod-like bacteria that is extracted from a cattle which is affected by a disease called anthrax. Anthrax is the name of the disease, and these are affected by the rod-like bacteria. Okay. Now there are some postulates that you need to learn. There are 4 postulates which is put forth by a scientist called the Koch. So it's called as the Koch postulate. So what is postulate number 1? The suspected pathogen must be isolated from a diseased host in every case of a disease. You see here, there is a rat here. The rat is dead. So rat is dead because of a disease. So what they are doing, this from this dead animal, they are removing or they are isolating the pathogen. So the pathogen is isolated from the dead animal. Okay, number 2. This pathogen is grown in a culture medium in a laboratory. You see, the suspected pathogen must be grown in a culture medium in the laboratory. This is number 2. After growing, because there will be only few microorganisms, they are growing it so that the microorganisms will multiply and become more in number. So after multiplying, what are they doing? This pathogen from the lab, okay, this pathogen is injected into a healthy rat. You see, this mouse is living. So they're injecting it inside the living mouse. See, the suspected pathogen from the pure culture, that is from here. Okay, they are injected into a new host. So when they are injected into the new host, what should happen? They should cause the same disease when placed inside the healthy host. You see here, they inject it and it is also dead, and they are dead because of the same disease. Not a new disease, they are dead because of the same disease. Okay, number 4. The suspected pathogen must be isolated from the new host. See? So now they are taking the pathogen from the new host and they are growing it in the culture medium. So what should happen? This pathogen, the pathogen that is grown here, let's say B, and the pathogen that is grown here, let's say A, these two pathogens should have the same characteristics. These are the 4 postulates. Okay, so these are called as the Koch's postulate. So what is number 1? The suspected pathogen should be removed. Number 2, the pathogen is grown in a culture medium. Number 3, the pathogen is injected inside a healthy mouse and the animal dies. So from this animal, they are taking the pathogen, okay, and they are growing it in the culture medium. And this bacteria or this pathogen and this pathogen should have the same characteristic. So this is what is called the Koch's postulate. Okay. Now this is what you have to study from from page number 4. Okay. Now let's see. So page number 4 and 5 we have finished. Now look at some of the questions from all this. Okay. Now, which describes an infectious disease? See, which describes an infectious disease? What's the infectious disease? So, a pathogen that disrupts the body's homeostasis. What's an infectious disease? So you know that. Okay, so this is the answer. A pathogen that disrupts the body's homeostasis. Next, which is a common way that humans acquire infectious disease? It's humans. Humans will get most of the disease from humans. Okay, so which scientist established the method of determining whether the organism caused a specific disease? The name of the scientist is Koch. Next, which is a carrier for athlete's foot? You see, they're asking you not the cause. They're asking you which is a carrier. So the carrier is a person with a disease who does not have any symptom. See, I told you he will only carry the infection from person A to person C. Remember, we do a diagram. So he is called as a carrier. Okay, what is the cause of a disease? If they say what is the cause of the cause of a disease is a fungi. Okay, but they did not ask you the cause. They asked you who is a carrier. So carrier is a person who does not have symptoms. Yeah, let's go to the next one. The next question here, see. So you have like many questions. You can read it. I will be sending you this. You can read it from here. Now let's go do some questions from the table. You see what is the question here? They are saying which which of the following disease is caused by a vector? See here, there are two diseases caused by a vector. One is by the tick and one is by the mosquitoes. So which is caused by here? Lyme disease is caused by vector. Malaria is caused by vector. But here you have only Lyme disease. So this is your answer, Lyme disease. So which organ is affected as a result of hepatitis B? So I told you hepatitis B affects the liver. So the answer is liver. Identify the types of disease one could get from a vector. So Lyme disease and malaria, these two. So here you have only Lyme disease. Okay, so it's easy. Just the table. You need to memorize it. They will not give you the table. Okay, you should know it. And then look at the next one. Which of the following human body system and organs like the giardia affect? You see a giardia? It affects the digestive tract. Digestive tract. Okay, now let me zoom this. Let's for the next question. See the next question. Which of the following human body system and organs does the rabies virus affect? Rabies is caused because of animal and it will affect the nervous system. It will affect the nervous system. Yes. So that's all. You see, like this, you get question. You study the concept and answer. Okay. Now let's move on to the next concept. I hope you're clear with the first one. Now let's move on to the next page. It's page number 6. Okay, guys, please turn to page number 6. Okay, this is very easy, very easy. And you should be scoring full mark in this question. There will be two questions on it. Not two, only one. Huh? Only one question from here. You see? So there are 4 ways by which the diseases are transmitted. The first way is by direct contact. So what happens in direct contact? Two people touch directly each other. You see, touching is an example of direct contact. So two persons are involved. If two persons are involved, then you call it as direct contact. Number 2, see here only one person is involved. So indirect contact. Here also you can find only one person. But the difference is the second is an object. See here in this case it's air. So indirect contact through air because he is sneezing onto the air. Here what happens? Indirect contact by the object. That means he is touching an object and the object is spreading the disease. So indirect contact by object, indirect contact through air. And the fourth one is by a vector. So what's a vector? Vector can be a mosquito which carries a disease. Okay, or it can even be ticks. Okay, these are examples of vectors. So these are the 4 ways by which the disease is getting transmitted. Okay, don't forget. So pathogens are transmitted. See here, the things given here. Pathogens are transmitted to humans in four ways. Direct contact, indirectly through air, indirectly through touching contaminated objects, or by organisms called vectors. Okay, now let's see. Let's look at some of the questions here. You see, okay. Which of the following common way of transmission do the humans acquire the coronavirus through? So how does the coronavirus enter the human, or how does it transmit from one person to the other? You know, it transmits only by humans, not by water, not by mosquito bite, not by sick animals. It's only from another human. Okay, look at next question that's given here. See here? What does the question say? Which of the following diseases are transmitted through vectors? Vector is where here. This is a vector. Okay, so you know that this is indirect. Okay, indirect contact on an object. There is indirect contact through air, and this is direct contact. So vector. This is vector. Okay, let's go to the next question. Yeah, all right. Yeah. See here. Which of the following letters indicate the transmission of disease by indirect contact through the air? You know, indirect contact through air is here. Okay. And which of it through direct contact? So direct contact is this. There are two people in one. Okay. So that's how you will be getting one question from this, and this is going to be easier. Okay. You can read the other questions will be with you. You can read it. Okay. Now let's move on to the next page. This is page number 7. Okay, I want you to turn to page number 7. Page number 7, and you have like one question from here. No, yeah, one question. Okay, so let's see what is that question. Okay, so how will the disease get spread? Let's say the disease can spread. There are two methods by which the microorganism spreads the disease. One, it can be with the help of a virus. It can be with the help of a bacteria. See here? So the pathogen invades the host cell. That means the pathogen enters the host cell. There can be two pathogens. Okay, one can be a virus or it can be a bacteria. Let's say. So if a virus enters, if the virus enters, then what will happen? See, the virus multiplies in the cell, that is inside the cell, and after multiplying inside the cell, they will cause the cell to burst. So remember this wording. Okay, this is important. If the virus enters your body, what does the virus do? The virus will multiply inside the cell and they will burst the cell. But on the other hand, if the bacteria enters your body, see, bacteria invades the body, the bacteria will release harmful chemicals or toxins. See this? These are the two things. If virus enters your body, what will it do? It will multiply. These are the keywords. They will multiply, and after multiplying, they will burst the cell. Burst the cell. But on the other hand, if a bacteria invades your body, what will the bacteria do? The bacteria releases harmful chemicals. They release harmful chemicals. These are the two keywords. Remember this. It's very important. I'm going to show you one question on it. Okay, how they will ask you. Remember this. Okay, then another thing. We are going to learn about two bacteria. Okay, see, there is a bacteria called tetanus bacteria. They produce toxins. You see, bacteria produces chemicals or toxins. So they produce chemical that cause spasm in voluntary muscles. So remember this. This is tetanus. So tetanus bacteria produce toxins that cause spasm in voluntary muscles. And there is another bacteria called the botulism bacteria. So they also produce toxin. This toxin will paralyze the nerves. It paralyzes the nerves. Okay. So now let's see the questions on it. How the questions are going to be. Yeah, here is a question. You see, I told you. They're asking you, which of the following is true when a disease causing bacteria invades the body? So what will happen if the bacteria invades the body? The bacteria will release harmful chemicals. Okay, harmful chemical. If it is virus, the virus will multiply and it will burst. We have seen it. See here, I told you here. Virus will multiply and burst the cell. But bacteria, it releases harmful chemicals or toxins. So the answer here is it produces harmful chemicals or toxins. Okay, so that is one of the questions from that page. And now let's move on to page number 8. Yes, guys, I want you to turn to page number 8. Okay, here we have questions on 3 concepts. Let me show you. Let me zoom this for you, this page. Okay, here we go. So this question is on the disease pattern. The disease pattern. So there are 3 types of disease pattern. One is endemic diseases, epidemic disease, and pandemic disease. These are the 3 types. What is endemic? Remember the keywords here. Endemic. Some diseases such as common cold are known as endemic disease because they affect small numbers. See, they affect small numbers and they are found within the population. You see, endemic disease affects small numbers and they are found within the population. This is endemic. Then, if the diseases will have a large outbreak in an area, then it is called as epidemic. It affects many people. See, endemic affects small numbers, and they are within the population. Epidemic, it's a large outbreak in an area and it affects many people. This is epidemic. Then look at pandemic. If an epidemic is widespread throughout a large region, such as country, continent, and the entire globe, then it is called as pandemic. You see, this is the third one. If it is affecting the entire country, continent, and globe, then you call it as pandemic. So these are the 3 things. Endemic, small number within the population. Epidemic, large outbreak in an area. And pandemic, it is like widespread through a large region such as country, continents, and globe. So these are the 3 things, like 3 definitions of the disease pattern. So let me summarize it here. You see here, you have the summary here. Endemic. Okay, here is endemic. It is in small amount within a population. What is epidemic? Large outbreak in an area and many are affected. Pandemic, widespread to different country, continent, and the entire globe. And also don't forget, you should be knowing this picture as well. Okay, this is very important. See, in endemic, only some people, some region. You see, this is endemic. Many are affected in the same area. Many are affected. Then epidemic. And if it is all over the globe and the country, then you call it as pandemic. So these are the 3 pictures. Endemic, epidemic, pandemic. Okay, don't forget. This is also there. Now let's look at some of the questions here. So which of the following describes diseases that are widespread throughout the large region such as country and all? You know that it is pandemic. So widespread, you should know that it is pandemic. Okay, now let's move to the next one. Okay, which of the following is when a disease affects a predictable number of people within a given population? Within a given population, that is endemic. Okay, and then you have many other questions. You can just go through. You can go through them one by one. Yes. You can do it. You see here also, small percentage within a population. So when it's small percentage, it's endemic. Okay, now let's move on to page number 11. Page number 11 is about the resistance. Okay, resistance. Now, before we go, let me show you one picture from here. You see, this is not coming, but anyway, I will explain to you this, then it will be easier. See here, there is a fruit here. Okay, so over the fruit, you can find something is growing on the fruit. This is called as a mold. Mold is a fungi. So what does this fungi do? The name of the fungi is called as penicillium. Penicillium, and it produces a chemical called penicillin. A chemical called penicillin, and this penicillin is an antibiotic. See, what is the name of the fungi? The name of the fungi is penicillium. It produces a chemical which is called penicillin. It's an antibiotic. What will this antibiotic do? This antibiotic, it is used to treat bacterial infection. That means it is used to kill the bacteria, used against bacteria. But what happens, you see? If we take this antibiotic, yes, we will be killing the bacteria. We will be getting rid of bacterial diseases. But what happens when you take this medicine very often, that means like, or in more quantity, very often, or in more quantity, what will happen is they become resistant. That means they will not respond. The bacteria will not be killed. So that is what is given here. See, the graph shows the reported incidence of penicillin resistant gonorrhea in the US from 1980 to 1990. You see here? So what happened? As the year goes on, as the year increases, the resistance, the bacteria that did not get killed by this penicillin started to increase. So why it is? It is because the penicillin, the bacteria is resistant to penicillin. Why? Because the bacteria is resistant to penicillin. Penicillin is antibiotic. The bacteria is resistant to it, so it is not killed. Okay, so this is one thing that you should remember. And then look at this. There is a bacteria, you see. The name of the bacteria is Staphylococcus aureus. Okay, so this is resistant to, see, methicillin. This is another. So methicillin resistant Staphylococcus aureus is a type of bacteria. So how does this bacteria spread? The bacteria spreads by, usually from the contaminated hands of healthcare providers. That means in the hospital, it can spread from nurses, from doctors. From them, this bacteria can spread, and this bacteria is resistant. Remember, there is another bacteria called Streptococcus pneumonia. Is another bacteria that is resistant to antibiotic. So this bacteria causes pneumonia, which is a respiratory disorder. Okay, it's a respiratory infection. It is causing respiratory infection. And what is the drawback? Okay, see, when you take antibiotic, it may take more time and it can be more expensive. So this is one of the drawback, okay, of it. So keep this in mind. This is also another thing that you need to study. All right. So this is, let's do some question on it now. See here. See here. What happens? What happens when bacteria develop resistance to antibiotic? They can survive and grow despite the presence of antibiotic. Even though you take antibiotic, they will not be killed. They can grow and survive. Okay, so you can read this. So let's see here, what does it say? The figure below, which of the following is not consistent with what do the data show about the effectiveness of the drug penicillin in the treatment of the infectious disease gonorrhea. So what is not consistent? Okay, let me zoom this for you. So what is not consistent in this? So they say the effectiveness of penicillin to kill this pathogen. It is not consistent because it's not killing. You see, it is not killing. The bacteria goes on increasing. All right. So these are some of the questions that you can study from there. All right. Now let's move on to the next lesson. So which is lesson number 3.